Hi Taurus, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly horoscope for the month of October. And this is a really powerful month because we start the month in the midst of Mars retrograde. Mars retrograded on September 9th at 28 degrees of the cardinal fire sign of Aries, and it retrograded in your house of the subconscious mind and dreams and imagination. And it has probably brought up old memories, maybe old wounds or things perhaps you've hidden or buried around anger or painful subjects that have perhaps been triggered during this time. And Mars loves being in Aries, but it does not like being retrograde. And when you have it being held back and also clashing with planets in Capricorn, which it has been really since the month of August, it gets very, very frustrating and frustrated for everyone. So that's the energy that we're all beginning the month of September, or October rather, with. And for you, again, this is in your house. Maybe you've been holding things back in the 12th house. That's the house of hidden matters. So hopefully you're doing work to bring this out and to release this, because Mars is going to be occupying this house for you until January 6th of next year. So it's really good for getting involved in a spiritual practice, whatever that is. There are many varieties of spiritual practice, but whether it's meditation or chanting or yoga or whatever it is for you, finding a way to release the anger and the pain. And that, I think, is going to be a theme for all of us in various ways. So we begin the month with a full moon in Aries that takes place on October 1st at 5:05 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it takes place at 9 degrees of Capricorn, and it falls in your house of endings and of dreams. So maybe you have some prophetic or psychic dreams that are coming up in the beginning of October. Definitely pay attention to the messages you're receiving. The full moon is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. So again, that's being very helpful for doing healing work. And then on the 2nd of October, transiting Venus, which is the planet of love and money and what we value, exits the sign of Leo and enters the sign of Virgo, where it will be until October 27th. And for you, that's in your house of romance and creativity. So it's a lot of fun, in this challenging time. This is good for romance, for connecting to your creativity, hopefully having some fun in this difficult time. So that's a nice romantic cycle and a very nice creative cycle. And on October 4th, we are getting to a lot of heavy and hot energy as we get into October. So, we just have to all work with it. So Pluto, which is the planet of power, death, and rebirth, stations direct at 22 degrees of Capricorn. And that happens on October 4th. And for you, that's falling in your house of higher learning and education and publicity and promotion. It's not necessarily a very painful house to be having this take place in, but on the collective level, Capricorn rules corporations and governments and karma and responsibility and structures. So this is a very challenging tale collectively. And we feel that energy 5 days before and 5 days after that station. And realistically, it's triggering that Saturn Pluto conjunction that took place on January 12th that changed the decade and changed the world. Saturn in its rulership of Capricorn, karmic lessons, restrictions, kind of like the Judgment card in Tarot, making us deal with things we need to face. And Pluto, which is death and transformation, they both met up on the world axis, which is 22 degrees of a cardinal sign. And in this case, it was 22 degrees of Capricorn. Pluto is triggering this degree off on October 4th, and we can expect big world events, big news stories, and in our own lives, Pluto is about power. There could definitely be power struggles, Mars retrograde. For you, it's in the 12th house. Maybe you're holding things back, and that can be very unhealthy. That's not a good use for anybody. And just collectively and dealing with other people, with Mars in Aries, people are a lot more fiery and impatient to begin with. You're a very patient sign, but Aries is much more of a sign that wants to charge ahead. And so with Mars retrograde and setting off all these planets in Capricorn later in the year, this is challenging. Pluto stations direct, that's tough. 4 days later, Mars in Aries gets to 22 degrees of the cardinal fire sign of Aries. Again, triggering off the Saturn Pluto conjunction from January 12th, collapsing of old structures, rebuilding and repairing. And also it's the world axis impacting us all, and it squares Pluto in the sky on October 9th, and that is an aspect of combat and definitely one of power struggles. So again, working with this energy to do a lot of meditation, swimming, going to the ocean if you can, taking baths, whatever it is for you, to find ways to calm your mind. And music, most Tauruses I know love music. Finding ways to calm your mind and stress to deal with this very fiery energy. And on October 10th, transiting Venus, the planet of love, is in Virgo, and it forms a trine to Uranus in your sign of Taurus. And Uranus has been transiting in your first house of self on and off since May of 2018. And that's the great awakener of the zodiac. It brings a lot of change and excitement and endings and beginnings, and a lot of, I find it to be an exciting cycle. It can raise one's anxiety, but it does open you up to a whole new world, really. And Venus and Uranus in harmony is very creative. It can be fun. I think that's nice energy because Venus is transiting in your house of love affairs and fun and joy. So hopefully that will be a nice energy. On the 11th of October, the sun in Libra is going to, that's transiting in your 6th house of work and daily routine, and it will be there until October 21st when the sun enters Scorpio. And then it's going to be, or October 22nd, the sun will enter your opposite sign of Scorpio and on October 22nd. But before then, the sun in Libra squares Jupiter on the 11th of October. And that's an excess, it's an aspect of excess, but it could be a lot going on. It could be being very busy at work, and it could be tapping into the optimism of Jupiter. And the sun is warm, heartfelt energy, so that's not necessarily a negative aspect. On the, let's see here, on the 12th of October, we have a really beautiful aspect. Jupiter, which is the grand benefic, forms what's known as a sextile, an aspect of opportunity to Neptune in Pisces. And that's one that you can really manifest your dreams. Pisces rules your 11th house of friends and groups, and Jupiter is expanding your house of higher knowledge and promotion and publicity. This is an excellent time for partnering with others on creative projects. This could be a great time for going on a date, since your house of friends and groups is getting lit up in a positive way with this aspect, and Venus will still be in your house of love affairs and romance. And it's just good for networking if you're looking for a job, or if you're just doing things where you want to network with people in your industry or socially. That's an excellent energy and very manifesting and very creative. Now on the 13th of October, we have Mercury retrograding in Scorpio at 11 degrees of Scorpio. And this mirrors the retrograde of Venus that occurred in the fall of 2018. In fall of 18, on October 5th, Venus stationed retrograde at 11 degrees of Scorpio in your house of partnerships and relationships. And it's stationed direct on November 17th at 25 degrees of Libra. And so it was in your seventh house of relationships, and then it went back to your house of work and daily routine and habits. And now Mercury is going to do that same transit. It's going to retrograde at 11 degrees of Scorpio on October 27th. And then it's going to station direct on October 13th. It's going to re-enter Libra on October 27th. But it's going to station retrograde on October 13th at 11 degrees of Scorpio, and it will station direct on November 3rd at 25 degrees of Libra. So this is totally replicating what happened in the fall of 2018. So you may find that relationship issues get brought up that you were dealing with 2 years ago. Maybe you hear from an old lover, an old boyfriend, an old girlfriend, somebody you used to work with. There could be miscommunication in relationships. Hopefully it's a time of repairing the communication. That would be a nice use of it. And on the 16th of October, we have a new moon in Libra that takes place at 23 degrees of Libra. And that new moon falls in your house of work and daily routine and habits. So it's a good new moon for setting intentions around working out, around things to do with work and your goals, and just keeping yourself in check, whether it's, again, having enough time to practice self-care, with all that's been going on. And this new moon is a challenging one because it does oppose Mars in your 12th house of the subconscious mind. And Mars is conjunct Eris, the goddess of discord. Eris is the sister of Mars, and she's very fiery. So we're going to feel that energy. But set new intentions around habits that you want to begin this fall, around work, around your wellness and health and those areas of your life. On the 18th of October, we have the Sun in Libra forming a challenging square to Saturn, and that's restrictive. And that day, Venus also opposes Neptune. So Venus in your house of romance and love affairs opposing Neptune in your house of friends and groups. That's not the easiest of days. And the Sun in your house of work forming squares. So you want to that's a day to lay low. That's not going to be the easiest with relationships. And on the 22nd, we have the Sun entering the sign of Scorpio. I will get this right. Entering your house of relationships, where it will be until November 21st. And that brings light to partnerships and to relationships. And on September 27th, we have Mercury. It's retrograde already, but it's exiting Scorpio and re-entering the sign of Libra. And on that same day, transiting Venus, the love goddess, enters the sign of Libra, where she loves to be. She rules the sign of Libra. And that's your house of work and daily routine. And she will be there until, until November 21st. Okay, so I wish you all a lot of luck. I'm operating under Mars retrograde and trying to remember a lot of dates to give you. The last date, least but not last, I can't even say it right, but you know what I'm saying. Last but not least, on Halloween on October 31st. There is a full moon, of course there is, a full moon in Taurus that takes place at 8 degrees of your sign and is conjunct Uranus, the planet of the unexpected, and it falls in your first house of self. Maybe you meet somebody unexpectedly. Maybe there is an unexpected turning point or end. With Uranus, you can expect the unexpected, but that will be a very exciting and excitable full moon in your sign. It takes place on the 31st of October, and we have 2 full moons and 1 new moon in 1 month, and we've got Mars retrograde, and we've got a lot going on. So I wish you a lot of luck, and thank you very much, Taurus. Take care. All right, bye-bye.